Hi guys, I hope you're good. Welcome to the channel. This is the Y.A.N.G podcast. If you're new here, welcome. If you're a returning client, welcome back. And yes, let's get into today's topic. The reason I wanted to talk today or to have this conversation today is to just vent. To just vent. I just feel like venting. So this one will be unstructured. It will be just a plain conversation. And unfortunately, I lost the mask. Ama niifunge na towel. I don't know. I lost the, what is it called? The spongy thing that you're supposed to have on your mic. I don't know where it went, and I saw it somewhere today, but I'm not sure anymore. I think it helps with the noise. The that air thing, that noise thing. Yes, like I said, today I just wanted to vent. And today, the reason I wanted to vent was I've been thinking about having this topic here, the forgotten child. And I've not, I think I'd be biased because I think I was one of the forgotten children. I think I'd be biased, and I wanted to at least have a discussion or do some research towards things of that sort, the forgotten child or the middle child syndrome. But sijapata so far. But today, just allow me to just vent and maybe give the reasons why I think I was the forgotten child. By that, by the way, I don't mean that people forgot we existed. Ama forgot we were children or something. I just mean we were the kids that a lot of people were like, she'll figure it out, she'll be fine, she'll just figure it out. And it's so convoluted because they're the same people who think you're too outspoken, you're too open, you're too exposed for you to eventually end up as an upstanding citizen. But at the same time, no one is paying you that much attention, so you just grow up feeling like you're being overlooked. And yeah, let me start at the beginning now. Like I said in the previous episodes and everything, we were orphaned very young, and we were after that we moved in with our grandfather, and of course he was a traditional man, so he's not the person who is so keen about raising the kids. Like, mmekula, you have a roof over your head, you're going to school, and that's it. Like, there is nothing more to go in depth about. And when I started realizing that I was feeling forgotten or left out, was when I think I was still in primary school. If you hear the soundtrack, yeah, laughter behind in the other room, I've left Big Bang Theory playing, and yeah, I'm in now the other room. Nimeiweka ikiwa on a very low volume so that it doesn't disrupt me or be over the waves so much. But at the same time, niko solo sahi, so I just want to hear that noise. Anyway, when I realized that I was being the forgotten child was when I was in primary school, and we hang out with this older chick. She was maybe like 10 years my brother's ages. Like, she was a little bit older than I was, and and we hang out with her for like a whole day. And during that time we had a lot of conversation, a lot of discussions about a lot of things. And I realized that I've never had an opportunity to talk to someone or to have this type of discussion with anyone. Remember, I'm growing up uh, around men. Like, the the grown up is my grandfather, and then I have two older brothers. So it's just us. So there's kuna conversations zingine, not because of not wanting to have them, but because they don't even realize they were important either way. Like, they don't realize that these conversations were necessary either way. So unakaa tu hapo tu unalelewa kinyamanyama tu hivyo hivyo. And this thing, I don't know. That was the first time that I started realizing that something was not right. So what I used to do was whenever I could have time, I would go spend it with that chick. And unfortunately, she passed on a few years back. I think around 2 3 years ago she passed on. But back then I used to spend as much time as I could with her, to the point where it started interfering now with my brothers and my grandfather. They started asking me questions about, why are you going to see this person, why are you spending so much time at their home, at whatever. And I'm like, I'm going there because I feel there someone is listening to me, someone is paying attention to me. It's not like here where everyone is concerned about something else all the time. So I'm the one who is left in the wild, to take care of myself. So when I'm there, when I'm with them, I can feel like a young girl, like a yeah, child. Like I'm able to learn a lot of things when I'm around them. The other thing that also made me realize that something was lacking was also when I joined now the orphanage. And being the loud child was not in favor of me, because a lot of people avoided having any sort of, a lot of adults avoided having any sort of interaction, a deep interaction, or any deep conversation with me, because I was first of all very loud, very talkative, and I would also question a lot of things. And a lot of adults don't like it when young people question them regarding anything. And I was that child who was always asking, like, no matter what you told me, I would ask questions. I would ask why this is happening. Why are you doing this? I remember there was this time when I almost lost my scholarship. I was in class 8. And what the nun who was talking to me about what had happened told me, ilikuwa na a lot of lies. Like there were a lot of lies in between in that conversation. And I was like, this thing does not make any sense. But during her talking to me about why I needed to go back home, why they needed to terminate my scholarship kidogo, she mentioned a name of one of the adults who were raising us. And I remember leaving that office feeling so frustrated, feeling so drained. And I just went to that lady and I asked her. As I only imagine, I'm 12 years old or something. And I asked her, like, why would you go lie about this, that, and the next? Like, I agree on a lot of things. I'm very loud, I'm very stubborn. I never necessarily didn't, like, I was never the child who didn't do what she was told, but you had to tell me why I was supposed to do what you're telling me. But kama ni anything, if you told me to do something, it will be done. But you have to tell me why I need to do it. I was never that level of stubborn child. So I was like, why would you go lie to her about this, that, and the next? You're saying I'm terrorizing the girls here. You're saying I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing the next. And above everything else, the people that know me deeply, they know that I love keeping my wits about myself. Like immediately I notice we are not joking, we'll have a conversation, we'll have discussions, we'll have, like, I wouldn't ignore you, but I will not, like, I will do everything that I can to be away from you. So I was like, why would you say I'm terrorizing these chicks that we are with, like the other students? Yet I don't even spend that much time with them, because at the end of the day, there is nothing we can discuss. Majority of them were like 4 classes behind me. There isn't much that we can discuss. And then back then, ututu mishene, like the moshene here and there, for me it was just so superficial, because the kids, I remember I talked about this earlier. I was the kid that everyone thought was such a horrible child, because I was talkative, because I was outspoken, and because I questioned the authorities. But at the same time, I knew a lot of the girls around me were very, very they had very bad manners, very crazy manners, but I was the one who was being told, I'm the bad influence on them. But anywho, so I'm back with this adult, and I'm like, why would you go tell her this, that, and the next, and you know they're lies, and now I have to suffer the consequences of you going to lie to her? And she was like, no, I didn't. But that was very respectful. So she was like, no, I didn't tell her. I've never told her anything like this. In fact, every time you've messed up or done something that was not right, I've taken upon myself to discipline you and to tell you why. Because I understand. I know you as a child, the child that you are. If you're told something, if you something is explained to you, you don't do it. Like, if it's something that you've been doing that was negative, you don't do it. And she told me, you just wait here, I'll go talk to the nun, then I'll come back and whatever. She went and talked to the nun. It didn't work out, and I don't know if they fell off, I don't know, but I was still told to go back home. Anyhow, but I did any during that period, Pia, that's when I realized, I was like the child that everyone thought will figure it out, will be fine. She will be fine either way, she's going to be fine. So, what also made me be fine, like what made me learn to figure things out by myself, was the constant back and forth. Remember when the first episodes I talked about my mom and how she passed on, and before she passed on as a very young child, I never had an occasion where I had to ask her for anything. She was a mom. She was a wonderful mom. She took care of everything before you could even. So I didn't even have the concept of having to ask someone for anything, because everything was taken care of. So you're coming out of that type of environment to the environment where you have to ask people for things. And these people that you're asking for things, they're not, like, they don't care. So someone says, you before you asked me, who else did you ask? Like, unajua tu hizi mambo za relatives, who else did you ask? What did they tell you? If they didn't help out, if they didn't even show any promise of helping out, even this other person that you're asking is like, ata mimi, I will not be able to help you out. So like those, every time you asked for something, it would cause you more trauma than even just going without. So by from a young age, you start adjusting to the notion of never asking people for anything, including the simplest form of help. So yani, from primary school to high school, I just started figuring things by myself. But it's because the people that you're supposed to ask help from, those that are willing are not willing to help. Those that can are not willing to help. Those that cannot, they're willing to help but they can't. So you don't want to even put them in a situation where they're like, I can't help you. Like, I'm feeling so bad because I can't help you with this. Like, I have very little. Have you? I don't know. Can you imagine a scenario where you're going to ask maybe someone who is homeless, just an example, someone who is homeless for a meal, and the little that they have, they're willing to share with you? That feeling, like, for you to get to the point where you have to go ask this person for a meal, you have to uh, like, it takes so much from you, because you know this person is, like, this is the only thing that this person has. So you can't, like, you won't be comfortable just asking them for help. By that, what do I mean? In my scenario, the people that were willing to help didn't have so much. Like, even for them, whatever they had was so little, but they were so willing to share with you. So sometimes you leave the situation, in as much as you've gotten what you were asking for, you leave the situation feeling so low and so sad and so depressed, because you're like, this person has just given up something that they didn't have to. And now when you go to ask for the people that are able to, they're not willing to help. Inakuwa tu theatrical dramas here and there, and at the end of the day, you're like, I'll just figure it out by myself. So from a young age, maybe early teenage years, I started just figuring things out by myself. And it got deep to the point where even in high school, I think I stopped asking for help quite earlier on. Because ukiangalia what you need even to go to high school, maybe in terms of shopping, in terms of transport, and in terms of maybe pocket money or upkeep, you find that every beginning of the term, you needed something like maybe 2,500 shillings. And what people could manage, maybe it's 500 shillings or 1,000 bob. So you had to figure out where you're going to get the rest of the money. And by that, what I started doing was selling some old bras that were back home. My mom used to have those mtumba stalls when she was alive. And I would get as much as I could, and then I go sell them in school, and I would use that for upkeep. Then whenever I was back home, I would go wash clothes for this wonderful lady, and she would give me some cash when I was going back to school. So even when there are other people that are willing to help and can't get that much, when they sent in whatever they could, nikichanganya na what I was earning throughout, unapata it made my life in high school a little bit more durable. And I think from that point, a lot of most of the people around me started thinking like she's going to be fine. So even whenever you're going to school and no one has the urgency of getting you the things that you need to go to school. I remember there was a time I kept asking for someone to buy me shoes, back to school shoes, and everyone was like, we can't manage. The ones willing to help can't, they don't have the money. The ones that can help, they're not willing to to help. And eventually, by the time I went back to school, the soles of my shoes were so torn that my, what is it called, the nini below, let's just say I was stepping on the ground, but the upper area of my foot was covered, but my sole was actually stepping on the ground. And I remember this time, there was one time this principal that we had for the school saw me walking, and she was like, why are you wearing, like, what type of shoes are you wearing? What are you wearing? Like, that was the question. What is that on your feet? Like, what are you wearing? Because my shoes were so torn. They got to a point where they started looking like sandals or something. And I was like, I, I can't afford to get shoes. I can't afford to buy myself shoes. Anyway, I can't afford to get myself some shoes. Nanine, she was like, can't you get them fixed? Can you, the cobbler, we used to have a cobbler who used to come to school and fix people's shoes. And he was like, can't you get them to Nini for you the sole, to add some material to your sole? And I'm like, yeah, I could, but I don't have the money. So and she was like, okay, on Wednesday when the cobbler comes, go with the shoes and I'll pay for it. And I was like, fine. The cobbler did his work, but it didn't last long because the sole was, I think it was PVC. When I started selling shoes as a grown up for African Leather Industries, I think it was PVC something. And if that material expires, the sole is not even, it doesn't even split, it starts disintegrating, like it becomes powdery or something. So even the area that this cobbler had attached the additional material disintegrated, and I was back to walking with my weird shoes. And then I remember during that time there was this teacher. He was quite short, and then he was caught scamming parents. And I imagine he was our guidance and counseling, alikuwa guidance and counseling teacher or something, the counselor, the guidance and counseling personnel. and the teacher, he was a male. He was let go by the school. And then I had a friend who had the keys to his office, and I remember one time we went to study there, and I found his shoes, like this lecturer's shoes. And I was like, if these shoes fit me, and then there were sharpshooters, like they were male sharpshooters, but I was like, if these shoes fit me, I'm going with them because I'm already walking barefoot, so I'm going with them. And luckily they fit, and that's how I got the shoes I think I finished high school with. Anyway, what that story was a tangent. Sometimes I forget it, and whenever I remember it, I just find it hilarious. Anywho, now what was I saying? Like, I had asked before my shoes go to the point where they were disintegrating. I had asked for help. I had asked people to help me out, help me buy some new shoes, help me buy this, help me buy that, and no one had the urgency. Like, you see, for a lot of people, when it comes to things of that, because school uniform is quite important, but when it comes to things of that sort, a lot of parents, a lot of guardians, they rush to get you what you needed. But when it came to my case, most most of the people around me, eh, let's just say the family around me didn't have that urgency because everyone was waiting for the other one to buy me the shoes. So unapata at the end of the day, you eventually just end up figuring it out by yourself. And then now we go to campus. Remember, these people are getting comfortable with you figuring shit by yourself. So when I got to campus, it was a similar atmosphere. After a few months in campus and feeling and being there, just yeah, just go back to episode, I think episode 2. Yeah, episode 2 of this podcast. I go into depth about what happened to me in campus. But one of the major issues that I had while in campus was I didn't have, like, people didn't have, even when they were helping out, they didn't have the urgency of helping me out. And what I eventually later on told one of my brothers was, by the time I'm getting to a point of calling you guys and asking for help, I've exhausted all the resources that I have, because I'm just trying to avoid the back and forth, the you first talk to this person, first go to this person, did you talk to so and so, and then let me know what they've said. It's so humiliating. So I was just, I had to wait until every every piece of resources that I could get was exhausted before I reached out to anyone, because I was like, I'm not about to humiliate myself, and even then not get what I was looking for or what I was asking for. Anyway, so hiyo ilikuwa one of the triggers when I was in high school, when I was in campus. It was one of my major triggers because I didn't have upkeep, and it's so critical and so unfortunate that a lot of students, a lot of people who've gone to campus can relate to this. It's so it's so unfortunate because most of the time, like I said, you're waiting until you're at the end of your rope for you to say, hi guys, please help me out with this. Like sometimes I remember even borrowing like 200 shillings from people so that I could have something to eat that night. But when you're talking to the people back home, you're like, guys, can you guys come up with a plan? Maybe once a month or once a week you can send me some few coins for me to be able to eat or to be able to enjoy in campus life in campus. And they wouldn't understand. They would think this was just sayo. Every coin that you're getting is first going to the critical parts, which is printing out your details, printing out your documents, so that you can have peace while studying. Like it was just pure chaos. And then I left Chuka University, I joined Mount Kenya University, and the story was still the same, to the point where I think I stopped, like I completely stopped asking for help. I think, by the way, at Mount Kenya, it got to, by the time, I think from 2016, when I joined MKU, I stopped asking for help. But like by the time I was asking for help, it was crazy. I remember there was this time I was having terrible headaches. Terrible headaches to the point where I couldn't even see. I remember there was a time in this I was attending this class, and while I'm trying, and I'm not even seated so far from the board, I'm trying to look at it, I'm trying to see what the lecturer is writing, and it just got foggy. Like it got so white and foggy, I couldn't see anything. And then I took myself out of the class with my things, and I went back to the hostel, and I just nikaingia kwa kitanda. I went back to bed and tried to sleep off the headache I was having. I remember my roommates were so scared because they were like, I've never seen Hannah sleeping during the day. And one of them woke me up later on, and she was like, Are you okay? Because we've never seen you like this. Are you okay? The past few days you've been acting weird. Uko sawa? And I'm like, I'm fine. I've just been having a very terrible headache. And I went and I talked to one of the anaitwaje. I went and I had a conversation with one of the school nurses, and they referred me to I think a level 5 to go and get a scan of the head, because there wasn't anything that could explain what was happening. And that scan, I think, required around 1,000 bob, if I'm not wrong. 1,000 or 2,000 shillings. No, it was around 1,500, because I was also to get a chest X-ray of 500 shillings, and then the head scan. I think it was 1,000 bob, if I'm not wrong. And I remember I called, of course, I called everyone, but one of these uncles, when I called him and I was like, "Hi, I'm not feeling well. I'm not feeling this. I'm not. Yeah, it was 4,000. Ilikuwa toto ya 4,000. I've remembered. Toto ya 4,000 shillings. I think 2,000 and something was for the head scan, and then the chest X-ray, and I was also to pay, I think, 500 shillings for consultation with one of the doctors, if I'm not wrong. But the total, without medicine, without anything else, the total was coming to around 4,000 shillings. So I remember I called everyone. Of course, no one was having the money to help out, and but one of my uncles sent me a message saying, "Have you ever read the story about the boy who cried wolf?" And I was like, imagine, even my head was not even clicking, because back then I used to write reviews for stories, nanini here and there, to make a few coins. So I was like, I haven't, but if you want me to write a review about it, I will read it. And later on, while I was narrating this story to a friend, she was like, You asked him for money, he sent you that message, and um, you snapped at him. Like, according to him, he thought you snapped at him. And I was like, no, I was just like, if you want me to write, because he is an English teacher, if you want me to write a review for this so that you can pay me money, like, fine, I'll do it. And he sent me, I think he sent me 1,000 bob. And then when I went to like a level 5, because I didn't have, like, see, I didn't get the 4,000 that was needed for me to get all the treatment. So I just went and I paid for the X-ray, the chest X-ray, which they did, and they didn't find anything, and fortunately they didn't. So I couldn't get anything done for my head and my migraines. So what did I do? I looked for a bottle of water, and I found one, and then I went to like an empty bottle of water. And then I went to the Catholic church that is just next to the level 5, and I took their holy water. And I went back, like I drank the holy water, and I went back with the bottle with now filled with holy water back to school with it. And I was like, God, right now I am battling with my faith in you, but by the faith of every other Catholic person who believes in the power of the holy water, please just cure me this headache, because I don't know what else to do. Because it had gotten to the point where I couldn't even see, like it's challenging my vision. So I no longer have that option of saying I can go to class while I'm having these headaches. And luckily, they stopped. I don't know if they stopped because of the holy water, but I believe they did because of the holy water. but they stopped. And I was like, the other 500 shillings, I used it to buy, I think I bought some shopping or something because I didn't even have basic needs. I think I bought some shopping and then I just went back to school and acted like everything was normal. But even with that interaction with that uncle, is coming from the point where like for them they would rather first think that I was trying to cheat them out of their coins, that I was trying to extort them. Yes, I was trying to extort them. Rather, like that is the first thought that they got, rather than even ask themselves. I've not talked to my niece for like 3, 4 years, and she has been in campus, and I've never sent her even upkeep. I've never sent her anything for her to be like, how is she even doing? Is she okay? Is she surviving in campus? Like, what is happening? And the minute I asked for help, you think I'm crying wolf or something. So back to my venting today. Why am I venting? Because I've realized the facade, like it's a huge facade for people like me or women like me to be classified as strong, independent women. That is just bullshit on top of bullshit. We are classified as strong women because of the things that people have put us through. I I would rather have a soft life. I would rather be having someone taking care of me right now, or be in a relationship where my mind is relaxed and I'm not, what is it called? I'm not, like I'm not in the constant battle with myself because I'm worried 24/7. Like if I don't do this for myself, I don't think there's anyone else who can come in and help me out. I don't I don't know if that makes sense. Cause even imagine campus yote, you're in campus, your fees is paid for by your sponsor, but upkeep na nini, it's kizungu mkuti with everyone else. And no one, even to date, like no one has ever sat you down and said, by the way, how did you make it in campus? Like what did you even do to survive in campus? Because majority are like, she'll figure it out, she's fine, she's going to figure it out. And then I finish my campus and for like 1 year I'm jobless. And even then, except I think for one aunt, yeah, she tried as much as she could to get me into some small gigs here and there to get a few coins, but it's because we were close, like she knew what was happening. But the rest, hakuna mwenye ali take ile initiative to even come and sit me down and ask me, how are you doing? Do you know, to date sometime we meet with some of my relatives and they're asking like, what did you study in campus? And you're like, okay, why do you want to know now? Like, why do you want to know now? You know? Anyway, I would rather be in a position where I don't, like, I'm not worried about anything else in my life at this moment in time. And this, I think, is another challenge that I have with getting into a relationship with someone, because a lot of people out here are broken. A lot of people are having issues, including myself. And I'd rather not be in a relationship at all than be in a relationship where I feel the way I'm feeling right now, or even worse, because someone is not giving you that peace. I'm looking forward to the day where I'll be at peace. Like ile tu, my mind will stop wandering all the time, being worried all the time, because that is the signature of a strong, independent woman. I was seeing a meme the other day about someone saying someone, or anyway, the caption for the meme was, um, when your parents say you the child that they didn't have to worry about. And then in the meme was this chick who was crying, like crying, breaking down, crying. And hapo chini it's written, me every night. And I was like, this was me when I was alone all the time. You're feeling broken, you're feeling abandoned, you're feeling you have to take care of things by yourself. And now it goes into it starts getting into um it start affecting even your professional life, because even a place like work, in your career, in everything, I still find it very difficult to ask someone. Now we are working, so both of us are getting paid, but I find it very difficult to even ask someone to do something for me. I'd rather just figure it out. I'd rather just do it by myself, because at the end of the day I'm like, I don't want to ask for help. And what eventually happens is that everywhere you go, people feel like it's okay for them to dump everything on you, because you're going to figure it out. At the end of the day, you're a strong person, you're going to figure it out. Than even spend a day or even have a conversation with you, but wako sawa, like whatever tasks need to be done, let's hand them over to Hannah. Whatever thing needs to be delivered, let's hand it over to so and so. I'm not saying that that is what is happening right now, but I'm saying it's a very common occurrence in every situation. People find it easier to just dump everything on you, because at the end of the day you'll figure it out. And how do you even know these things, by the way? Back in campus, I was the chick that the people we were in groups with for assignments and things of that sort had it a little bit easy, because either way, like, I'm not going to wait for 5 people to figure out whatever they need to do or whatever. If I get 2 people that were able to do whatever we need to do, we just do it and we're done with it. Bora imeniondoka, like, I don't want to be stressed out anymore about something else. So you find a lot of people will dump things on you. I remember even how I became the class representative. I was like, we've spent 30 minutes in this class waiting for the lecturer. Who's the class rep? Atuambie where the lecturer is. And everyone was like, you be the class rep. And I was like, fine. And I went and I found the lecturer, and he was like, I'm not coming to class today, but here's the assignment for this, that, and the next. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you being the person who takes the initiative to take care of things, to handle things, to take care, it's a trauma response. And it's so draining, because majority of the time you just want to let go of everything and relax, but you can't. You, like, psychologically, you can't let go of everything and just relax, because you have to take care of this by yourself. You have to take care of everything by yourself. Like, you don't have that backup. And I just, oh my god, I would feel so bad, which is, I think, why I just can't get into a relationship with someone who is not. Anyway, I'd feel so bad if I found myself in a relationship where I had to take care of things. Because I think for me, and I keep asking God, if I'm ever going to get into a relationship with someone, please make it in a scenario where I don't, like, this person takes care of everything. Like, it's a joy for them to take care of everything else, because I just, my god, I just want to rest. Like, I just want someone to see me for the fragile baby that I am, the huge baby that I am, than to see me as their pillar of strength, because I'm not. Oh my god, I'm not. But anyway, even with that, I've been trying to, charge, reconfigure my brain to the point where I to try and reconfigure everything to make it that I'm not that afraid to ask for help or to reach out when I need assistance. I remember the other day I was talking to a friend. I was like, I was a photo of me was taken at this period, and I remember I was just done crying and whatever, and this friend was looking at me like, so you cry like you unaliaga, because a lot of people don't like when you're used to taking care of things by yourself. A lot of people don't see you for a normal human being. They just think you have everything figured out, you're fine. But majority of the time you're like, if I had the opportunity, I could cry like 5 times a day, but I don't have even that time to cry that much. Anyway, that is me venting about the facade of a strong, independent woman, because it's a facade. It's a broken facade. You're brought up in a way that makes you come out as a quote unquote strong woman, but in the general aspect of things, this is just a huge trauma response to the constant feeling of abandonment and knowing that you can't rely on anyone to handle things. There are people who are genuinely strong women and they are raised to be strong women, but majority of us, it's from constantly being left to figure things by ourselves. So by the time you are grown up, it's coded into your DNA that you have to figure things by yourself. Na sasa inakupush for those roles where everyone and their grandmother, they just leave things at your feet because they know you are going to take care of it. And let me tell you something else that I've noticed in the recent days. The minute I started stepping back and telling people no, hey, a lot of people wamejaa maji wamejaa maji, because I'm like, you come, do you want a task handled and you are throwing it at my feet. I'm like, no, you can handle it yourself. You can do it yourself. I am no longer going to be that person who is being um, piled on to take care of things when no one else at any time will ever bother to even have a call. Like ile tu out of nowhere, call, hi, how are you doing? Can we go have dinner? Can we go hang out? Can we do this? Can we do that? Can we do the next? But when you want something handled, yeah, I'm the one you're calling. No. And a lot of people are very, what is it called? Are very surprised by me saying no. Like I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. For my family, for everyone else, I'm just like, no, you handle it yourself. Because, manze, the constant piling on to the point where sometimes you don't even feel like you're breathing, like you don't feel like you're a human being. It's so draining. So draining. Anyway, that was me venting. That was me venting.